Are we kachoy? Good morning. All right. Good morning. Good morning. Is everything okay? So, how we doing? Good morning, y'all. It is fucking freezing. Jesus, why did I end up doing a iced coffee? Fuck. How we doing? How we doing, chat? How we doing? How we doing? It's Useless Lines in the building. Kachoya! I had to get caught up, so I'm good to go. What about you guys? Raph says so early. Yeah, I'm gonna try to show up early, just like today. What do you guys think? You know what I mean? Get that 15-second alpha TA in. Be prepared, planned out. You know? But honestly, isn't it the same thing that we talked about on Friday? It's the SFP of the RTH low. What are we talking about? It's the SFP of the Friday low. What are we talking about? So, I mean, that's all I really did, right? That's all it really is. So, I'm just trying to, I was just looking for invalidation. A says, missing that Texas heat. Yeah, for sure. Triple J says, how was your weekend? It was amazing. Make sure you rewind and get caught up if you missed the weekend streams. Yeah, I streamed on Saturday and Sunday. Aram says, I went to sleep with Bitcoin touching the tippy top and woke up to a complete retrace. Yeah, look at this. How did we know? Yep, and I streamed on Saturday and Sunday, so we were already talking about this. Pretty cool, huh? Yeah, and I mean, even the CME one. Yeah, resistance, math. I streamed over the weekend, so there's the Saturday, the Sunday. Okay, so Saturday, Sunday, and then obviously for the VIPs, I have just my stream, and then you also have the 24/7 that you can rewind as well. All right. Easy money, but nothing has changed since Friday. So all I did was looked at a couple of levels for invalidations, and that's it. Let's get it. Nikita says, where is your long? Just rewind and get caught up. I even gave the entry. Yeah. Always, if you show up late, always rewind and get caught up. If you're a VIP member, awesome. Okay. Or this one, you can just rewind as well. But nothing's really changed. You know, make sure you're caught up on the Saturday and the Sunday stream as well. Everything is talked about. Easy money. So just kind of remember what we talked about, where the initial rejection is a no-brainer anyway. So if it does that, then you know you need to have a plan on how you would take this long. So wait for the bullish retest or market enter, and there might not be a bullish retest. And Jerome Powell is talking in 4 minutes and 45 seconds. Kachoy. Hey, Loey, what's going on, Loey? I see you. Kachoy, Loey. JV says, so I am late for long again. Boy, you better slap yourself awake, JV. On God, tell me we didn't go over this. Tell me we didn't go over this, JV. I dare you. The fuck does this look like? So look, you can either chase this, or the VWAP. And if you really want to pussyfoot, swing high, swing low, golden pocket getting turned into support. Hey, Jerome gonna do it now. All right. Lube up. That wasn't actually me. I was just reading a court transcript from the Diddy trial. Cub SXS says, hey everyone, I didn't know where to start with trading, so I just typed it into Twitch and clicked the first stream. Holy cow. Wizstar says, Consuela, come out. Jerome already left? I mean, it depends. Okay, where is the quinceañera at? And is there a mariachi band at the quinceañera? Yes or no? That basically means VWAP is support. You know what I mean? But honestly, though, JV says, holy Spanish TA. Yeah, I mean, JV, this is what I would say. If you really want the long, you have to take it if it goes above VWAP or settlement. And you really need to be in it before it goes above 106. There's really no debating that aspect of it. I don't want to fuck you up. Oh, you're already in it? Okay. Well, then I can say it. I think it's okay and preferable to be in it, JV. But I don't think she's done cleaning. But we'll know if if she puts the vacuum cleaner in the back, okay? Vacuum cleaner, okay, is in the back. And then the car pulls out of the driveway. Then yeah, she's done. But I'm going to wait until the vacuum cleaner's in there as well, because a lot of times she'll keep the vacuum cleaner in the house, but she'll go and like put maybe the rags or like the chemicals and stuff, you know? Let me just see structure change real quick. Let me just see structure change. Let me see VWAP, and then your boy is gonna get nasty. Ninja says, I'm not in long yet. You know what, Ninja? It's not about are you in a long yet or are you in a long. Regardless, are you prepared? So for example, if this just green dildos on us, okay, crashes through, because you've been here long enough to understand that it's value area low to value area high, right? Let's just talk volume. You know what I mean? So it's going to do a rotate the longer that it spends time. Now, obviously, you want to get above point of control and settlement, right? But if that bitch gets turned into support, the probability of rotating to value area high is pretty high. And then once you get into that value area high zone, then you're going to get into the bad highs sort of region, which is probably going to start a really nice cascade of squeezes. So if you were here for the Saturday and Sunday, just make sure that you have a plan, you know, because I would assume that a lot of people that aren't in a long, you're going to probably see people starting to get into longs, you know, if the appetite is there, as soon as we're starting to break above VWAP and settlement and such. Yeah, and if you really zoom out, it's not that big of a deal. Yeah, but, you know, this isn't too bad. This really shouldn't be too surprising. You know, a little bit of a bummer, like if you got stopped out on the long, but dude, that's okay. So I think, you know, anything really before 105, I think is acceptable, right? So kind of, you know, as long as you're prepared, if you're in longs from here, just be prepared. If you took the long from here, just be prepared. If you took shorts from here, just be prepared. Lusky says, sorry I missed the weekend stream, boss. Been busy as fuck. No, nothing to apologize about, brother. I would prefer that you were grinding, man. Honestly, the weekend stream was just a collection of responsibly chasing the long, understanding that it's going to clean that thang on Monday, highest probability, you know? So just in case it was going to leave the lows like that, if you wanted to take the long. And if you did want to take the long the whole weekend, we were just kind of breaking down fibs and structure. So it was a nice little treat, I think, for some of the younger Lion Cubs to be able to see that themselves. But for the most part, you didn't miss anything, man. And hence, again, I think it reinforces the idea that you're really not going to miss much over the weekend. Is there juice to be had? Yes, certainly if you do it responsibly, like the way that we were kind of designing and anticipating, I think it's cool. But lo and behold, no matter how hard you try over the weekend, most of the time it's going to just come back and clean everything anyways, especially if the RTH low was left bad anyways. So the question now becomes, is that low good enough? Because that is a sweep, that is a clean. I thought she was going to mop the garage. I guess she was just going to literally sweep it. And so if we start to get 30-minute candle closes, a bullish retest above VWAP and settlement, I feel like we've all seen VWAP resistance turning into support or vice versa enough where you can kind of figure out how you want to play this, So if you're going to be able to get a bullish retest, then your best bet is to get that previous session VWAP all the way up at that 105,750 level, and then do the bullish retest with the intermediate like ETH. So, and then that would kind of start to form smaller time frame structure and all the stuff that you would need. So it might not be the lowest entry that you wanted, but I would assume that you're going to start to aim for the bad highs to get cleaned. So it shouldn't be too bad. Dirty Mike, what's going on? I just came back from Scotland. Shout out Scotland. And got to tour around the underground tunnels people lived in back in the day. That's Baus. Yeah, it's crazy what kind of ingenuity, is that right? Yeah. Human beings had back in the day. Yeah, we pulled off a lot of shit. I think we actually started stalling, to be honest. I thought we would have like maybe a skeleton or like a basic foundation of like a Mars settlement. Not even close. I thought we would have flying cars by now. Not even close. But I guess we don't really need all that shit right now. Hey, so you for sure could scalp long this and juice, but ETH is so ass in my opinion. This shit actually got me thinking Bitcoin could go lower. I don't know about you, Fred, but that's how I am looking at this. I'm looking at ETH and I'm like, dude, the I don't know. ETH got me tripping. ETH has me fucked up. Every time I look at this, everything that I think about Bitcoin being bullish goes away. So I don't even want to really look at it, but are you trading this directly? If so, then I guess the thing is, brother, I've been here so many times with this fucking goofy motherfucker. So this is the context that you're going to talk to me about ETH BTC being bullish or bearish, okay? Because we've been streaming ever since we drew this line, So that's the context that you're going to ask me about ETH BTC. So like it's got a lot of work to do in my opinion. I've been here before because if you remember, I actually longed ETH every time like we anticipated like breaking and holding. I did long a lot of these ETH BTC breakouts and they still fucked. So I still got to see it. Still got to see it. But this is the way that I'm always going to look at ETH BTC. So yeah, it's got a lot of work to do for me. But if you're already in a little thang, then that could be Gucci Magucci. It really just depends on, do you think the bottom gets swept? Yes or no? for like a real, it's time to go. It's altcoin season. Yeah, do they leave the lows like that? Perhaps. But cleaning that and having like a crazy bullish reaction would be so amazing. Yeah, but could it leave it like that? For sure. Stop the music. Orts GG says, not gonna lie, got liquidated a couple of weeks ago. How do you rebound from it, Kimba? I think the answer, like most things in this game, you already know it, but you probably just need to hear somebody else say it. There's really no point in trying again if you can't honestly make sure that you don't make the same mistake over again, right? Like, as badly as you want to try to make it back, as much as you feel like it was bad luck, as much as you feel like you know what you have to do differently next time, you still need to actually execute when the drones start flying, when the bullets start flying, because no matter what, you're basically fighting against you at that point. Because when you have adrenaline and you have cortisol, that much of it flowing through your blood, when those stress hormones hit your frontal cortex, it's gonna trigger your flight or fight response. You're gonna basically go into survival mode. So you're not gonna really have time to think or even trust the thought process that's going on in your head when you're already kind of like emotionally in that flight or fight response. So what you really want to do is figure out, okay, this is what I need to do better. Chances are you did some goofy shit where you just kept adding or averaging into a losing position. You couldn't cut it when it was a lot more manageable, and it eventually just kind of ended up hitting your stop liquidation or stop loss, right? Looking back, it was adding to a losing trade and coping. 100%. No, I feel you, brother. And we all get got in that way. I think that's a pretty stereotypical way to kind of get liquidated, brother. You know, have you seen my little drawing? I call it like the 3 stages of idiocy. But like, you know, I assume that you didn't, like, even if it was for 5-10 minutes, like let's say that you were gonna long, right? Even if it was for 5-10 minutes, maybe it was for a couple of days, maybe it was, you know, because some people will let a trade go red the longer they've been in the green because they get so mesmerized by it, you know? But so there's whichever way, but like, you know your stop loss is here, right? And you're juicing. And so now, like, you're thinking to yourself, well, swing high, swing low, you know, and you're going, well, fuck. There's no fucking way. I'm going to hold this bitch, you know, even though you know that you're supposed to put your stop loss and make sure you can't lose. You're thinking to yourself, dude, no fucking way my entry's at 75786. So you decide to keep it here. You know, and then, you know, God, I mean, you know it's doing this, right? And you're thinking to yourself from 0.5 to golden pocket, damn, I could close this, but if I was going to close it, I should have already started closing here. I might as well just let it ride. You're already fucked. You've already broken the cardinal rule of being a lion. You're a fucking elephant now. All of that juicy meat you're leaving behind. So now you've already kind of fucked up. You know, and now that opens the floodgates. Now that gives you the opportunity to, well, you know what? It could be a swing fail. Yeah, that's a bad low. That's a bad low. Let me get a swing fail. And you know what? That could be a bullish dip. Oh my God, that is a bullish dip. Oh my God. Let me go ahead and add a little bit more right here. My stop loss is actually the 1.5 extension because math is life and Fibonacci is math and math is fibs. So now, all of a sudden, the trade that you were supposed to close for a couple bucks in profit is now in the red, and you're thinking, what the fuck? What the fuck? And then, so now you're like, okay, bull div. Yeah, but your average entry is now here. You know, and maybe for a brief second, you're in the green for like a minute. Oh no. Oh no. Could be a 3 drives. Could be a 3 Kimba. Is that a 6? Is that a Kimba? That's a 3 drives, right? Let me add a little bit more. They're not gonna get me on a. If there's a bull div, I'm in this bitch. If there's a bull div, I'm in this bitch. Bank.
You just said.
Oh my God, that does not. Hey, Kimba, where's your stop loss on your long? Oh, you're in a short? Fuck you. Bank. And then like your stop loss is, this is your liquidation. And somehow, some way you end up in this, it is what it is. Come and get me, market maker. Come and get me. It is what it is. If they're going to get me, they're going to get me. And your ass was supposed to walk away with a couple $100. What is wrong with you? Fuck! I got. So, I don't know, brother. You gotta lock in and figure out you don't do that shit, you know? I don't know about you, but I've done some shit. I've done stupid shit like that so many fucking times. Eventually, I figured out, like, there is a threshold where you have now compromised and you are completely fucking contaminated. You know, and everybody needs to be self-aware. Maybe you have a little bit more discipline than me. Maybe you're a little bit more conservative, or you're a little bit less degenerate than me. But everybody has a threshold where you have completely compromised. They have got you. You know, and what you need to do is figure out your goofy ass from getting to that point and walking through that, you know, actual no return, point of no return is what I call it. And it sucks to have to man up and realize a small loss, because so many fucking times it's gonna round trip you or stop you out and then keep going, right? But let that shit happen. You know, it's a lot better to let that shit happen and then to, you know, be, you know, dollars away from getting liquidated. So this is one of those things where you got to lock the fuck in and you've got to make a conscious decision on what you're willing to do, because when it's subconscious time, you're going to do what you're going to, you know, what you want to do, what your heart is already set on doing. And if you want to get like licked, then it's already written. So you have to kind of decide, you know, which way you want to go, and it's going to suck. And remember, I think the biggest giveaway about all of this is that more often than not, whether it's trading or life, the thing that's going to juice you the most, the thing that the right thing to do, is actually the harder thing to do. It's rare that the right thing to do is the easy thing to do, because by definition, that means that most people are going to be able to do it, which by you know what? Does that make sense? So you just have to embrace the fact that you're gonna have to man up and take small losses before it gets out of control. That's really it, I think, you know? So yeah, and you just need to have like an actionable protocol. So if you really want to, orts, what I would recommend is take 10 trades, and on all 10, you shave everything at 382. And then the next 10, you don't shave everything, you shave half. Okay? And then maybe on the next 10, you let yourself get round tripped, but you never let anything green go red. You know? And then, and on all of them, if you don't have a chance to close it in green, then make sure that you stick to the original plan of how much you were willing to risk. Because the other way that you want to think about it, orts, is you want to be in control of how much you're willing to risk to be able to get whatever that you're thinking the reward is, your risk reward profile, right? You're willing to lose X amount for something that is ideally 3X or 4X or 5X, right? And if you start to finagle and change your risk tolerance after you've gotten in, you are now changing with the market maker how much the agreed upon price or the risk was. And like, you would never go to a car dealership, agree to a price, and then come back the next day with, you know, a check ready to go. The car salesman says, actually, it's going to be $10,000 more. You would never be like, oh, okay, that's cool. Here's another 10,000. You would be like, wait a minute, that's not what we agreed upon. So you're violating so many things that you never would let anybody else do, yet you're going to do it to yourself. Okay? So you got to snap out of it and just realize that you're the one that's fucking you. So don't even let yourself go down that road. Just fucking close that bitch at break even. It's going to suck, but fuck it. You got to do it. In my opinion, I think you got to do it. Otherwise, like, you're seriously counting that you're a good trader. And even I don't do that. I understand that most of my trades, I'm just going to get round tripped, you know, and maybe the edge that I get, you know, the open interest, the divergences, the structure, maybe it gives me breathing room to put that bitch and make it risk free. But who the fuck knows? So, alrighty, that's how I would rebound. But you got to really lock in and figure out if you're going to get got. You know, because you can't continue to get got, and you need to have like an actionable, executable way to improve. Otherwise, you're no lion. You know, and sometimes being a lion is being able to say, okay, I'm never going to be able to contain myself. I better just walk away, you know? But I think you can do it, but there's no compromises. Every single trade, you have to stop loss at break even. You can't compromise. Isn't it crazy that even if you do 99 out of 100 trades perfect, if you do one like that where you start moving your stop loss and adding in shit, you're fucked. The margin of error is so small in this game, so you just have to respect it and see it for what it is, you know? But it's brutal and it's extremely violent. Sometimes you can liquidate billions of dollars in a matter of minutes, you know, but it's not unfair. So it is what it is. If you just happen to be a retail longer or shorter that has now accumulated together with an aggregate of $5 billion with other people that are in the same trade or position as you, I mean, there's nothing you can do, you know? But yeah, that being said, don't beat yourself up. I've done that to myself billions of times. So it's not so much the act of fucking yourself and liquidating yourself is what makes you good or bad. It's purely about how you can improve and how many times does that need to happen before you can actually figure out a way to stop yourself from doing that. How many times does that need to happen for you to actually stop? Because maybe it happens again and I wouldn't be mad at you and I wouldn't think any less of you. I wouldn't call you a dumbass. It might happen one more time. You never know. But that's the thing is everybody is responsible for managing risk, you know, and it really doesn't matter if you're longing or shorting if you cannot have good risk management. So it's pointless arguing being in a long or short. You know? But I believe in you, big dog. I might give it a couple more weeks to cool down. Okay. Do you want me to tell you if I get filled? It fucking sucks that in 16 minutes we're gonna get power hour, right? Because it's low volume volatility. So it's really, really hard to trust it, right? Any bull div, any VWAP holding or rejecting, all that shit is kind of like less reliable because it's low volume volatility. Do you want me to tell you, Pink, if I get filled at 103.8, at 103.750, all the way through 103.5? You know what that is, right? And maybe it's tomorrow. I don't know. But Orts GG. This is the best way that I could help you. Do you know that I'm in some shorts? And do you know that I'm not scared of longing 104, 105. And I've been talking about 104, 105 for quite some time. So I mean, I'm in this bitch. Okay. But I also understand that it's going to be very, very dependent on S&P. And S&P today, nobody is trading. I thought maybe like somebody pulled the fire alarm at Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan. I have no idea what's going on, but nobody is trading today. We're the only ones trading. Okay? So, I understand that like if 58, 55 doesn't hold, or if the structure doesn't keep continuing to make higher highs and higher lows, then S&P is going to have some trouble too. And if that's the case, then I'll see you at fucking 198. And I don't think 98 would hold. It's obviously a little bit too early, but now I don't think it's going to hold. Because there's so many longs. I mean, I don't know. I don't want to say that because somebody's going to like only watch that clip and then be pissed at me when I'm in the 98 long. So it's hard to say, but I would say that if this doesn't hold, I would get really, fuck not being able to take a long from here. Like nobody should really be freaking out about that. But I think if this long doesn't work, then we switch over to altcoin, nerd out. And really start thinking about maybe like a 92, 90 possibility and be able to take advantage of that and get some really nice altcoin longs, right? So either way, in my opinion, I feel like it's a win-win. How long have we been talking about 104, 105? You know? So I'm not going to pussyfoot now that we're here, right? So this is it. Like, this is kind of like, beyond this long, there's no longs to be had for me until like the 98 to 100. And then, yeah, and then we'll see if that holds and if what that shit looks like. And yeah, so all eyes on, hey, can we get above settlement VWAP, right? Stay tuned. Gotcha! But you know that we're okay with an ETH low though, right? So as long as it's not Macaulay, I'm probably going to take it. So I will still take it. And you going to chase it from the VWAP or no? I'll try to be back as quick as I can. So, yeah, and I'll probably be watching the Coinbase spot while I'm doing the leg extensions. Love you guys, Lions. Longers, I'm rooting for you. Shorters, I'm rooting for you. Bulls, Bears, we're all Lions. You guys are the fucking best. All right, y'all. Hey, stay safe. God joy.